You're watching a Fact TV presentation of the town of Swanzey.
The August 22nd meeting of the planning board here at Wickham Hall. Begin with a roll call. Scott Zell, it's me, I'm here. Richard Lane. Here. Mark Scalera. Here. Brandon Zell. Here. Michael York. Here. Victoria Ames. Here. Selectmen's Rep. Charles Harbeck. Here. Alternate Steve Malone. Alternate Michael Scungio. And alternate Jane Johnson. Yeah, okay. So we have a full board, don't need to see anyone. So tonight the agenda is applications and public hearings. We have planning board 24-017, which is a multi-tenant application. Grayson Belowski, I think it is, Belowski submitted a multi-tenant application to lease an existing unit at the multi-tenant commercial building located at 2 South Winchester Street. Grayson is using the space to store material for his floor sanding and installation services, along with one office. Subject property is shown at tax map 109 lot 2 and is in the Village Business District 2. Item B under applications is planning board 24-018, and that's another multi-tenant application. Suzanne Boisvert has submitted a multi-tenant application to lease an existing unit in the multi-tenant commercial building located at 2 South Winchester Street. Better You Beauty LLC is a personal services business that offers laser skin treatments, Botox, fillers, health, and skincare products. Subject property is shown at tax map 109 lot 2 and is in the Village Business District 2. And under discussions and other businesses, planning board schedule, which are changes in November, December, site plan modification, continued discussion on a modification, application and definitions, contractor base and others. And item D, Jim Fennel, new indoor athletic facility and any other business as may be required. Back up to the top, I guess we would need a regional impact vote here. There are new items on there.
I move that there is none.
Motion by Michael York that there's no reason to alert surrounding towns for regional impact. Is there a second? Second. Seconded by Mark Scalera. Is there any more discussion? And all those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed? Now we have the minutes of August 8th, 2024 to review. Is there a motion to approve those minutes?
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Brandon to approve the minutes of August 8th. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Richard. Is there any further discussions or changes or anything like that? Then all those in favor indicate by saying aye. 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 All those opposed? And we have that. You're saying you weren't there. Okay, start that on. And brings us to our first application, which is the multi-tenant application. That's Grayson Belowski has submitted the multi-tenant application to lease an existing unit in the multi-tenant commercial building located at 2 South Winchester Street. The space is using to store material for his floor sanding and installation businesses, along with an office. Subject property is shown at tax map 109 lot 2 and it's in the Village Business District 2. So this is the one where staff has said that it requires a special exception because of the zoning change, I think, last year there.
Sure.
In staff's opinion. I think we should just look at that for a minute and discuss it.
If you agree, doesn't mean you can still hear the application.
They're already scheduled
Exactly.
for a ZBA meeting anyways, so.
They have submitted their application.
Well, they have not.
They have been directed.
Okay, and they can still make it.
They can. Yeah, plenty of. How could we approve it here? I mean, how could we approve? Because you could approve with the condition of the special.
Yeah.
It's just a bit, it's not the order.
See. Village Business District, that's on page 32. Our ordinance. And this falls under special exception, which is wholesale warehouse and storage facilities. Is that correct in here?
In my opinion, it's the best fit for a specific use.
And that is probably because it's going to be storing these materials now.
Correct.
And the reason I don't agree with that is because he's a small business, just like any other small business, carpenter, plumber, or electrician. They're always going to store their material, their supplies, their tools and stuff in, where they're working out. They not necessarily will be working in that building with it, but they'll be storing that stuff there. And I just don't know if we should classify that as warehousing. In allowable uses, there's personal service shop or service establishment. And I would think that this is a service establishment because they conduct a service like a plumber, or like a repair person or something like that.
That's, we've got to address that because I think some members of the board think that a personal service is, hairdresser.
Well, it is.
Our definition is.
It is, but it says or service establishments. That covers other things other than personal service. That's what that was put in there.
What about a professional business or corporate office? Because,
Not really, because professional, I think we've usually done them as lawyers, accountants and things like that. But
I think I'm happy to discuss service establishment. Since it went along with personal service shop, I was thinking along the same lines. And it's not defined or, and so it's something that we can definitely discuss.
and I think it's,
let's make a note.
Let's make it.
When we do our definitions, type to figure it out. We're going to keep getting up pieces.
so I don't think it falls under D in a special exception, which says that wholesale warehouse or storage facilities with office. This isn't a storage or warehousing facility. It's a guy running a business who's storing his equipment and product for the business there. I don't think it fits that category. I think it fits service establishment. So we need to discuss that before we go further on this. I can just hold the board members, Richard, what do you think?
I'm just trying to adjust what you're
All
saying.
right, yeah, well, let's discuss it.
But I was hoping Grace would be here to more explain this.
What they're gonna do?
Yeah.
Well, this is pretty much in general too, because this board has, we've approved other businesses in place of that work out of a space and they have their tools and stuff there, but go somewhere else and work. And we haven't classified it, I don't think, as a storage facility, even though they're storing their equipment there. It's not a storage facility where their business is storing things.
I agree.
What did you do with the business across from Waste Management? But I read that they had the existing house and they put up a metal pad behind. They were storing products up there.
But it was a cleaning service, oh yeah, it's a cleaning service. Yeah,
Space.
that's right, that did that. I don't recall what we classified it as. We had done it under the whole warehousing thing.
We didn't make it a special exception for it.
No, because that's the service business would act as well. It would be classified as a service business or a service enterprise as we have in our establishment better, as we have in our zoning here.
With this, to what extent are we going to allow things to be, stored for?
Well, here's the difference, because again, in the zoning there, it's personal service shop or service establishment, which covers a broad range of service businesses. And then in special exception, we have the wholesale warehouse or storage facility, where that is their business, it's a store stuff. If they're a business, they aren't working out, if they're taking the stuff out onto a job site and bringing it back and putting it there. This is a storage facility where they're renting out space, storing piece stuff or equipment or something like that. So there are two different classifications there. It's in special exception because a storage or a warehouse facility is a lot more of a thing than just a service establishment. So that's why it's in special exception and not in the allowable use.
So is it a question of degree scale, maybe?
I think it's a question of what the business is. This guy that's running a storage facility, that sounds like running a service establishment that he's floors in. And I guess I put in floors.
But-
Yeah, he's storing the thing.
This is why I've done here before, and so, so.
You'd be storing flooring. Got a job to install.
Yeah, and which he should be allowed to, where else he gonna put it, working on there. And he's not storing it for somebody else. He's storing it for himself, his own use in his business. It's not a storage facility where he's gonna rent out, somebody storing a vehicle on his flooring because he's renting and storage space out with a bunch of good space.
He's basically staging what he needs to do a job.
Yeah, and as any business like that needs, they need a place undercover to put that, so.
So it doesn't stay there for,
Well, it's saying until it uses it, right? He's getting paid for using it.
it doesn't stay there by the month, by the year.
Oh, yeah, and being paid month after month. No, there's no, yeah, that's the difference between these two businesses. There are these two classifications. And if we look at those differences between the classifications, this service business falls more under the service and establishment rather than a warehouse facility, is what I'm saying here. And I'm asking the board if that's what they agree, or if they're gonna have to go to a special exception for under warehousing and storage facility. But I don't think they should have to see that.
How is this different than base, what they're trying to do with base hill?
Because that's an actual storage type unit that they want to put up.
They went in under the storage on that one.
Yeah, and that's where we run into a problem, correct?
Ran into a problem because
Not the-
the definition, yeah, not the planning board didn't have a problem. But again, that was, those are contracted bays, which again, this would be something like that, had they gone under this classification, perhaps, if that was in the business, I'm not sure, but
We do have Grayson Homes. We have Grayson Homes.
Well, we aren't discussing, no, this is a board discussion. So we need to nail down if we're gonna call this a warehouse facility or if it's a service establishment.
I still think it's a question of scale. I think if he was laying in, multiple houses with a flooring, a commercial building, and there's a pile, whatever, that would be, a warehouse in anticipation of jobs. Whereas we're presuming
Then in that case, wouldn't every single business that comes in here be classified that? Because any business is gonna have materials for whatever the heck.
right,
it is.
true. So, I think in our heads, we have an idea of what the scale is. If this is a smaller operation, he's probably only laying in as much, storage.
We'll find out,
Right.
send it to us. how we can
That's
space it.
relevant to our ultimate decision, how we manage this.
I still want to see the definition somewhere. I will say this building is less than 2,000 square feet and he's only using a portion of that interior to store his. So again, this is why I brought it in.
And we look at it as a storage for a singular project.
We don't have that classification in our zoning. We have specific classifications there.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, and how we interpret this.
Which, yeah, so that's everything. Yeah, it's for his own business, correct? Yeah, would it be for multiple businesses out there, just his own business?
Or projects where he would be storing, say that he's got 4 buildings or 4 things going at once, but then it becomes a warehouse. If he's doing singular,
Well, he's only got like 2,000,
so
so
I understand that, but what I'm looking at is, okay, we can say that, okay, to this, he's only got 2,000 square feet, we don't put a limit on him, or,
well, if he wants to expand that 10,000 square feet, he's back in here.
Yeah.
And then if it expands to something that is warehouse and stuff, then he has to go to the ZBA. But that's the planning board determines, that's what we're doing now. And that's why the planning board does determine things like that to clarify. That's what we're doing. What do you say, Richard? Is it a service establishment or is this business a wholesale warehouse or storage facility?
well, I don't see where it's a wholesale, because it's,
Or warehouse, it doesn't have to be wholesale, or warehouse or storage facility. Is it a facility or is it an establishment? I guess maybe that's the difference. Or if you want to think about it, I'll move on down. But I can't ask Jenny, but she's not seated. Okay. Majority.
For these purposes, I like to call the service.
Service
What the second
Yeah,
part-
service
Service establishment.
Okay.
Service.
Right. Service establishment.
Okay.
Charles, service establishment.
In the big sense of the word, service establishment.
Scott, service establishment, go over here, service establishment, okay.
with the provision that we can revisit this.
Oh, these definitions, we're gonna be doing that in September, so yeah, we're doing that. Okay, so now we can move along to the application there. Again, it's a multi-tenant application, sorry. Grayson Beluski has submitted a multi-tenant application to lease an existing unit in a multi-tenant commercial building located at 2 South Winchester Street. Grayson is using the space to store material for his floor cleaning and installation services, along with one office. And the property is shown in tax map 109 lot 2, which is in the village business district 2. And I understand that they aren't here tonight, they're on Zoom tonight, is that correct? And
Grayson is here.
would you like to present anything to the board? Any clarifications, anything like that? You know, we have what you're doing here, so.
No, sir. As long as everybody is happy, I think we're all set.
Just give us a brief synopsis of your business.
Basically, you know, I work on site. I go to and from site. I do multiple jobs a week, roughly 4 to 5, I'd say. So we do a lot of floor installing, everything like that. So it's different every day, really. It all depends on from house to house and every different situation.
So
But-
you refinish floors as well as install floors.
Yes, sir.
And any questions from the board members to the applicant?
No, sir.
No, I'm asking our board members if they have any
Oh,
questions.
okay. Sorry.
Bear with us there. Any board members have any questions about his business there?
Finish.
In hazardous materials,
That's what I was thinking.
the types of slacks or any types of
Stripping agents.
stripping agents or anything like that, how are those stored? And or do you bring them back to your warehouse there?
We only use oil-based polyurethane. That's really the only product we use. Other than that, it's all just the hardwood flooring and the other machinery. As far as like sanding goes. But other than that, it's all sandpaper, air tools, stuff like that.
Okay, so probably part of any.
And I was gonna say, and oops, sorry to interrupt. I was gonna say, and any of the polyurethane is all stored in the metal cans, and then it's all used on site.
Okay, so part of any approval would be an inspection by the fire department, as well as code enforcement, the fire department as well.
Okay.
Okay. And I understand this is the two-bay garage, the old service station there.
Correct.
Is what you're using there, none of the rest of the other mill building, correct?
No, just the part of the building that's disconnected from the mill.
Yeah, it's a separate, it stands alone from the building.
Correct, sir.
Okay, thank you. Let's see, any other questions from the board? No? Then, any from the public, or any butters here, any questions from the public on this one? No. Not facing you, so I didn't see you there, I'm looking this way here. Okay, so I guess then a motion would be in order?
I'll make the motion.
And if, okay, the motion would be to approve the multi-tenant application and with the inspection by code enforcement and fire department. Okay.
Yes.
And who would second that? Lenny?
Second.
Seconded by Charlie. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Okay, you're good to go, and you'll have to contact the code enforcement officer, and you'll be set up for an inspection.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah, good luck.
Have a good night, everybody.
Thank you. Okay, item B, that is planning board 24-018. That's another multi-tenant application Suzanne Boisvert, I think it is, has submitted a multi-tenant application to lease an existing unit in the multi-tenant commercial building located at 2 South Winchester Street. Better You Beauty LLC is a personal services business that offers laser skin treatments, Botox, fillers, health, and skincare products. And the property is shown at tax map 109, lot 2, and 2 is in the Village Business District 2. And is the applicant here? Yep, okay, that's you. Okay, just give us a brief description of what you're doing there. And just to tell us whereabouts in the mill building you'll be.
So you walk in the round hall and take a left and it's Suite V. It's a small room, it's 144 square feet. And I'm just gonna be having an aesthetic chair and my lasers and a few tables and a chair. So the patients will come in and they'll be on the chair. I can do treatments to them if they have broken blood vessels or age spots, or they want to get a tattoo removed or something of that nature. Also, we can do some enhancements where we're doing neurotoxins, and that helps to freeze like wrinkles from happening, things of that nature. I plan on being the only one right now. I just wrote that on the application. I don't know if I have another nurse come in, if I could ask you now if I can just have that as a future, or do I have to come back? I don't know.
And have, what does that mean as an
If I had another
employee you're
person,
talking about?
Yeah.
Number of employees?
if someone came to help me or something.
And you have full-time employees, one, and that would be you.
Yeah, I'm really not gonna be full-time, to be honest, but I just figured I'd put that. But I'm just gonna be by appointment. I wanted to be vague about the schedule because I really don't know if someone's gonna call me and say, can I meet you on Sunday at 1? Or, you know, it's really gonna be by appointment only, just probably a few people a day. I'm not quite sure yet. But I just wanted to leave it like from 9 to 7.
Yep, that covers it all.
Just as a big, window to work within.
And the entrance, the mill entrance you're talking about is where now? Is that the one right off of the small parking lot? Dan, where's that one?
It's the office building.
The one
Oh,
that,
the office building.
Oh,
Okay,
yeah.
okay, yeah, it's that.
Small office.
I got you now, because I was a little confused as to what coach you're describing getting into the rest of the mill there.
oh,
Okay, now I know where you are.
no, it's at the,
Yep. Okay. Let's see, and any questions from the board?
Should it be encouraged to increase your number of full-time employees to 2, just for this?
Sure.
Probably be a good idea, yeah, that'd be a good idea to just
Can I
change
have
it.
you mark that, or should I just?
Well, we'll mark it down, but if you
Okay.
could initial,
Okay.
stop by the town hall and initial it.
Just in case, yeah.
Okay.
And then am I limited to what I can do, or is it just within my scope of practice? Like, some of my counterparts might do IV hydration or things, all within the scope of my license, but is that okay?
I
Or-
would say so, if the scope of your license it is,
Okay,
you're.
just wasn't sure. This is what I'm starting with, and you just don't know where things could take you, and I wanted to be clear that with you guys about what I can and cannot do.
Okay, yeah, we don't limit that part of it,
Okay,
but if you're expanding the business at all, we'll be. For us, that,
very
something
good.
like that.
Okay, that's great. Thanks for answering that.
Questions from the board? Question from the public? Okay, then, I guess a motion would be in order, so probably also an inspection by the code enforcement. To approve the multi-tenant application, is there a second? Also, did that motion have the condition to?
Yes.
Be looked at by the code enforcement and the fire department?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, wait a second. Okay, seconded by Brandon. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor, indicate by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed? Good luck.
Thank you. So what's the condition? I don't.
The condition is just have code enforcement, have an inspection, and the fire department. That's
Okay.
generally, that happens anyway.
Okay, then I will just do that.
Land use office, and you'll see Mike Jasmine, code enforcement guy, and he'll set you up probably with inspection and fire department. Same time.
And I'll show that back to see you. Is that right? Okay, thanks, folks.
Okay, well. Yeah, let's see, let's go through Yes.
You know, and just not me, especially.
In our opinion, but we don't make that call. I mean, yeah, it's the board's opinion that he falls under the service establishment and not the other. So, yeah, it would be our opinion that, yes, yeah. No, thanks for clarifying that, yeah. Good having him, things like that.
Yeah.
We only got my papers in order here, so yeah, we have, Jim Fennel is here for a new indoor athletic facility. That item D, under number 6. So let's just move that up to the next area of business. We'll do the planning board stuff after that. So it's Jim Fennel here. Yeah, how are you? So what are you doing? You're looking to move out of the mill and then?
Nope. So, just if anybody doesn't know, my name's Tim Snell. I run the field house over, it seems like everybody's here. Since 2000.
Yeah.
But, so we're in the warehouse portion. We're coming up on our 5th year. And we have approximately 32,000 square foot facility. We have about 22,000 square feet of it. 10,000 square feet is rented out by an organization called June Swanzey, which has advantages. Our area has a turf field and a basketball for our multi-purpose court. And we have a little bit of a lounge area where we serve drinking and things like that. And so I don't know if anybody's been there, but it's great. We've grown since we started in COVID, October of 2020. Not, it's kind of crazy. But it's growing, and we really haven't done a lot of advertising. It's just been word of mouth. And we're at the point now where it's made an impact on our community. It's been great. I think. I'd like to introduce you to Sean Swanzey and Mitch Lee. They both have been involved, not in the field house and the operation of it, but as participants, as parents, and of being in it. And so over the years, they come and we've taught, and they said, we should expand it, we should add this. And I taught, I don't think we're going to be ready to do that. But now we're at the point where we are. I mean, I can tell you that we're booking rentals. Usually you call that week, yeah, we can go months ahead. Now it's hard getting space. I used to give away, like, we have run a lot of youth groups for soccer, especially. So we run a lot of youth soccer leagues, we run adult co-ed soccer league, women's leagues, we run lacrosse leagues. And people would say, hey, can we get some practice? And I used to just give it. And now I think, because we have so much in there, we have rugby groups coming in, we have youth lacrosse coming in. So it's been good. But what it hasn't been on is people always have ideas, right? And we do have one. And people like to sit and drink and have all of a sudden they share their ideas. Everybody's got great ideas, right? We don't have space. And my whole thing was, we don't have space. A golf celebrator, a rock, whatever it may be. There's a lot of things in this community to have. We would like to serve it for them, but we don't have it. That's where Sean comes in. Sean is one of the owners of the tire warehouse facility that's down Route 10. And we saw.
Excuse me, could I have his last name again, please?
Swanzey, VOI.
That's
SIN.
Thank you.
So Sean is involved in that. So we started talking about, okay, what do we do with that as a complementary facility, just adding on. I will tell you that we've looked at different towns. My experience with dealing with the town Swanzey has been really positive, from everybody that we deal with. And the location's great. And especially for us, the Route 10 location is good, but anywhere in Swanzey is pretty good because you draw from, we draw our bases, Vermont, Massachusetts, that Northfield, Burnston, down in Greenfield area, Vermont, anywhere from Brattleboro, upwards of Springfield, Vermont, and then we'll go up into Charleston. And then not much to the east, believe it or not. I mean, we don't, from Peterborough on, you start looking toward Manchester and Concord and places like that. So we kind of get that, we've carved out a little area. And so we look, so Swan's a good location for it. So, and it's not that far from Keene. Keene people like to look at, you know, it's not in Keene. We found that that's not the truth. So we this has actually worked out with us. Sean can tell you a little bit more about space at Tire Warehouse. It fits us. We want to add on to a building and to expand. Like I said, there are different things that we want to do in addition to what we're already doing at the mill. But that's moved for sale, and it might not be available to us. So what we're just trying to do is this is an informal conversation, just to find out, and Adam answered our question, what we want to do falls within what the zoning over there. But we also want, you know, because of our relationship with town and so on, what we would like to do is feel you guys out. I mean, as a planning board, I mean, I think we add to the economy, I think we add to the community, and we'd like to keep that. So if there is anything that ideas, we're coming to you guys for ideas. If there's a piece of land, if there's any existing structure, if because the Tire Warehouse gets sold, and Sean again can speak a little bit more upon that. If it gets, then we might be looking for something. We are quite content to go along with what we are at the mill right now. But there's a lot of opportunity to expand, a lot more to do for the community. So that's basically what we're looking for.
You're coming to us for ideas as to where else you could expand?
Yeah, basically, when it comes down to it, yeah.
No, we're not real estate agents.
I understand, but you also
Really?
but it also have pieces of land that you've come across in the town, and that might be bad, whatever. So we're just putting the feelers out and understanding we're coming to the planning board because
We're pretty much asking us welcoming. You've been other towns, we want to welcome you here.
But the idea exists here, right? I mean, yeah, that's the idea that you're selling, but it's already sold to us because you're.
that's exactly it.
But you're
Want
saying,
so more.
but you're saying that you may be interested in building your own building at some point, or no?
Yes, yeah. I'll just use this as an example, and it's not concrete, don't like this is for adoption. There's a lot of people that come in, they drop off their kids and they sit around and they watch them, they play, and they'd be like, that would be great to adopt someone here right now, and I could go swing some balls while my kids are at soccer practice or they're playing a game or they're doing whatever. We don't have the roof. So if we had someplace where we had room to do kind of, we run pickleball, you know, but that port's multi-purpose. So could they be a bit more dedicated pickleball to it? So there's a million different things. We've done things with bounce houses. Where we've brought in, and it's been kids' day, it's been great. We had a lot of kids, we had hot dog, we had lemonade selling on. That was really a fun event, but we can only do so much of it. So yes, so we're looking for additional space. And it makes sense for us, it makes sense to stay in Swanzey. Now we have, as Sean's touched on, we've gone to other towns and some towns were really good. They want us to, we also want to add onto an outdoor food. But in addition to our whole business, we run a soccer club called FAC Soccer. So we had about, in the spring, this past spring, we had about 100 to 120 kids participate. And we currently have a really good relationship with Keene State College to use their outdoor field, but it would be great to have our own field that we would still use Keene State, but to be able to go out and practice and things like that. And we service Monadnock High School, Monadnock Middle School, because they have clubs on field space, indoor and outdoor. They come in with their track team to use our facility. We would love to have a bigger space where their tractor and pole voltage could run, you know, and they could sprint. So there's a lot of use that would benefit the community. We'd like to keep it here. So yes, and we're coming out and saying, all right, maybe you guys have come along in your thing, in your business, that you know of. Whether it's a banning for sale, whatever it may be, you know, and that might work, or town owned, or whatever it may be. We just put it out to let you know that.
And you're just using Tire Warehouse Building as an example, or that actually is in the running?
That's in the run.
It is, and do you have room for an outdoor facility there too, or just addition to that building?
No, no, it has enough room.
There's room for outdoor?
Yeah, it has enough room to build an additional building plus an outdoor.
And a field?
Yeah.
Would be the best spot right there.
That is an ideal spot. Convince him not to sell it. So that's right. We're looking for about, I mean, that is it 12 acres, that spot?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, 12 acres really takes care of what we need for parking, for the facility and a field. When we looked at bigger space, we looked at in 200. Was it 200 acres over than that? Yeah, and so we were thinking about bigger, more fields. But that's the location and all that doesn't really serve what we're doing if we want to do indoor. And it doesn't pair well with what we already have established. So,
My record, my brain, I can't think of any large parcel of land like that. That's for sale in Swansea.
The one they're talking about makes the most sense.
it does.
Right down the street from this one here.
What I'm gonna do is I'll just leave my card and if anybody, and you have that,
I do.
I'll just leave this, and if anybody comes across anything, you want to shoot me an email with any ideas or anything like that.
There's only one building, but it might be too small for what you want to do on Route 20, it's the Thomas Transportation Building.
Right, so it doesn't have the land.
Doesn't have any land in this.
And that, you know, as much as the building, it's the land that's as much as we know, you know? So I remember at one point, wasn't there land for sale right along the road into that airport? Has that been on this?
PG Bell has a piece of property there, this property. 7 acres, maybe 6 acres.
On the right, on the right.
Right by the web building we're talking about.
It's right there, that's
The new web building.
No, I'm talking about.
Yeah, that's what he's talking about.
Oh, that's what
I am Port Road. That's probably owned by the city of Keene.
Probably by the city of Keene, and they won't, you only lease from Keene,
Okay,
and they only do 50-year leases, and you don't want to get into that.
no. Yeah, we haven't even approached this. So.
I can think of a lot of large tracts that feel like that, but they're not for sale, right? They're all belong to farmers, and I'm sure they would keep them.
I know somebody approached us about, in between Checker Fairgrounds and Route 30,
The floor place.
in all those industrial areas, there was a few traffic, it seemed like there was very uneven ground.
It is.
Yeah,
It's very, that's industrial too. That's the industrial park. Proposal was to be start there. That's.
Yeah, the side warehouse would be ideal, but I don't think it's gonna be around for long. It's like a plus activity for a while. But we just want to see, we really want to stay this one.
If you get the most money, you probably sell it to you.
Well, yeah, right.
Okay.
I'm agree with the public-private approach to brownfield. We have a selectmen here.
yeah.
You know, I mean, it might be worth talking to.
We would be wide open to that. I mean, so I was involved with previous Wombats, and so I have a little bit, in fact, we stood before, Michael Granton a few years ago. We talked about management brownfield, the junior Wombats. Just because it's hard, right?
What I would suggest you go down and see the secretary of the school of the board and just put on the agenda and go talk to them, see if they're, they go beaver grounds.
But, and you guys don't own the cut, right? Or is that town owned as well?
The brownfield,
The town owns a majority of it. Brownfield is the majority of that property, but there is property around the school that the school system owns.
So who owns the field itself? I owns the
Field is up to town.
The town owns the field, Butler Field and then Brown Field, so there's two, we're talking about two different fields.
Brown Field, it's the entire property is Brown Field, and then in the corner of it, there's that soccer school is, where, no, where the school is, there's a small area around the building, but belongs to the school system. I think all the fields and the tennis courts.
And right now, they're unsure of where the property line is, they're gonna have to do deep research on it. Because like Scott was saying, part of it belongs to the school district and the other part belongs to the town.
Right.
It all belongs to the town. But when the school district was formed, kind was deeded over to the school district.
And then they're gonna be what was
So then, well,
That wouldn't solve your problem with the indoor golfing, system or building or anything like that, but I don't think any buildings would be built on that. It's just a field.
I think we're getting a good loss in this sauce. So let's bring it, let's circle it back a bit. Love the idea. I, as a representative of town of Swanzey, great idea. Hope to see you guys succeed in town of Swanzey. Tire warehouse location, great location. I understand the problems that go along with it. But we really can't recommend any properties other than if we can't come to you with properties. It's the other way around. So
We're not real estate.
yeah, so if you have any ideas for anything in town, please let us know.
Just that you're talking about, is there any, I don't know, maybe it's a discussion on Slack.
yeah,
It might be, yeah, it might
talk
cost,
to the regular selectmen.
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
But once you have the parcel, they come back to us. They're happy to discuss.
Great. Well, thank you.
And I'll just say why it's a business to you.
What's that?
Why it's a business for you, it's a service to the community. I would, love to.
Yeah.
Have some indoor options growing up as a kid and all that, so please pursue it.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, but to everybody's point, it's up to you to do it and come up with your own business model.
Me and my 5-year-old in person life.
Well, thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks for coming in.
Yeah. That's just.
Planning board schedule, that's next up here. That's a schedule of meetings here. Planning board, I guess we all have a copy of it probably right there. And it was changed for November, for the, and December, yeah, November, December. So we've got a meeting on the 14th and the 21st. So that will be the second and third, I believe.
The second and third week.
Second and third, yeah, and second and third of December as well. Everything else is pretty much the same, right? Yeah, okay. So that's already. Everybody fine with that? Yeah, all right, we're basically fine. Site plan modification, continued discussion. I think we have a copy of the updated site plan modification form and checklist.
Take everybody's comments into consideration.
Looks pretty good, I think, anyway.
Yeah.
Want me to read through it, or are we good with that? We'll have a public hearing, I'll read through it then, so I think we'll have a copy of it here. Yeah. Okay. Moving along, that should bring us down to. Oh, so we're just the site plan modifications in our site plans. Is what we're gonna add in there. We went over that last week. Everybody probably had a chance to read it, or yes, maybe no. And again, probably just like the little checklist and form here or there. If everyone, if it looks good to everybody, then we'll have a public hearing maybe at our next meeting. Both of these will be out of public hearings, and we can discuss it then, read through them and decide yes or no. And then that would, if we decide yes, then I go to our site plan regulations after the public hearing. Sound good? Yep. Okay, so take that on, look it over, make sure that nothing sticks out there on you. Let's see, we're to the definitions, contractor bays and others, probably gonna be. Again, I've been going through definitions next month, fair amount, and gonna add another one, probably clarify a few of them there.
Yep. So this is a broad discussion on what we want to tackle. I know the desire of this board and assuming zoning board as well is to tackle the contractor things. What do we call them? where will they be permitted, so on and so forth. Before we get started, does anybody have, I know you guys have been sitting on this a lot longer than I have. So does anybody have suggestions, anything they want to bring up before we get started?
And that's about the contractor bay definition.
Yeah, and it needs to be anything we could call besides.
But before we get started, I think Adam's gonna tell us a few other things that we could call it there. So yeah, let's get into that. Let's see what else we can call it. Contractor bay is good, but
I like it. No, I like contractor bay. I think contractor bay is probably, you know, it's such a hot topic right now. I think it's a good phrase. It could also be contractor bay facility. We just had a facility in the other bay. I think that's still good. Contractor garage, don't like that so much. Small bay industrial spaces. Not sure about that one. Multi-tenant contractor facility. I like that one the second best.
I like contractor bay the best. It's short.
Yep.
They're pretty much to the point.
I agree.
Once we put a definition on it.
Yeah. Yes, I agree.
Because yeah, and definition we put on it, we'll,
Yeah.
see that it's contractor bay.
And so there's a need for defining this, I believe. I think that there are some things we should keep vague. I agree with that. But this is one of those terms that we should be defining. We don't have to do that right now because I don't even know how to define this right now. Nobody has defined this specific use, at least not in the wider planning world. There's multiple different definitions for a lot of different things. But we have to kind of combine them into one. So that takes a bit more work on our part to kind of make sure we have all our bases covered. Before we get started on that though, let's go over where they should be permitted and where they should be under special exception.
And let's go over what we're looking at, you know, just before we get into that, what we're looking at, because the one we did tonight here,
Yes.
down in the middle there, you could say that's a contractor bay, but it really isn't a contractor bay. You know, if we could have a distinction between the two, a contractor bay could be something where there's more than one of them doing the same thing, rather than a multi-tenant.
Yeah, and that was my thought. I think he's under the assumption that much more.
Yeah, they're clustered together.
So is that, was one of your definitions contractor bay facility?
Yep, contractor bay or you use that, whatever we decide.
Because that to me implies a bunch of. Yeah.
Contractor bay, exactly. So here's what I was thinking, and that to be included in these, multi-tenant contractor facilities or contractor bays, what have you, buildings occupied by 2 or more tenants that provide, this is up for interpretation, provide needed services to the community. I want to kind of play with the idea that these provide services that benefit the community somehow. Plumbers, flooring people, roofers, small contractors, electricians, stuff like that. And these services could include, but are not limited to, our guys right here. Non-automotive repair services. So anything that's not a car repair service, think bike repair, jewelry, shoes, etc.
Motorcycle repair.
Well, I think we can talk about it. I think we could definitely talk about motorcycle repair, but definitely not cars. Yeah, cars. Small building contractors, equipment storage, that's gonna be a bit. I think that might roll into contractors, because they're gonna have storage, so. But
Related?
yeah, related.
Yeah, because anything related to business, like we can talk about tonight, they're gonna need that stuff, but it's not warehousing.
Would it be that it's housed inside versus outside?
I think it could be both, or probably should be both, and those, well, depending on how the guy designs, you know, how the applicant comes in and says, well, we got outdoor stuff and just store stuff.
Yeah,
They don't have to have it, but I don't think we should close. Yeah,
it's all based on like what they could.
yeah, security, they're gonna have the trucks and stuff, yeah.
Yeah, and maybe light industry, talking about maybe putting together parts from separate pieces. I don't know,
let's keep it contractor based rather than
No, I
that you're getting into manufacturing and processing and things like that. If we have other definitely, you know, because we're selling it, well, we're not selling it, but we're explaining that it's, they help the community by providing services to people.
Yeah, and so I want to take that idea. These are services that benefit the town of Swanzey and the surrounding areas. Contract. And we just need to figure out how to word it. And I was combing through APA and different definitions, different municipalities. There's really not a whole lot out there that fits this hyper-specific use case, one that is so needed. It's wanting wanted, it's we want this, so.
But with the general definition, like we're talking about here, yeah, probably refining that and some good examples, pretty much it'll put it into what we're trying to achieve.
Yes.
Because I see the relationship between what we did earlier with service establishment and contractor bay. For service establishment, this is what I wrote while we were talking about it. Business office / staging of equipment and materials, tool storage, single business.
Yeah.
I think for contractor bay, we're looking for primarily that in each bay.
I think we might want to just make it a distinction as a facility,
Right.
rather than here, because what you're talking about is single business, which is what we've approved a bunch of those throughout the years, and that's what they do. But we're talking about a bunch of bays.
Right, but each bay in that facility, each bay in that facility
Yeah.
might involve those same elements.
Yes, so we could, in our definition for the contractor bays, they're doing probably the same thing smaller ones may do that we've approved for other, like the other definition that we're talking about
So
there.
there's a dozen of them.
And there's an overlap there. They could, if they fit into the mill complex down here, you could have a plumber or somebody working out there. Or even a roofer, I suppose, but that roofer probably will after the contractor bay, and then place down a smaller place down here.
So sorry, go ahead.
Is there a distinction for us between saying a contractor bay or bays as to how we look at how we're going to receive the application? And the other thing that I was thinking about with a contractor bay or bays, excluding any business that would be involved with gasoline, like that a vehicle would have gasoline or motorcycles, something that would be combustible, I would think should be excluded in that. Well, I think that's where you were going before that.
No, on motor.
Yeah.
And then you have storage of cars and outside too.
And maybe that's an approach, is what are the things that we would frown upon or not want to see?
Yeah, but that's one thing we should grab, it's like an exception.
Because that might help us
If we
formulate
use it-
how to word it.
If we do word it like that, then I don't know, if I were a client or if I were an app, I'd say, well, that guy is doing flooring and he has combustible materials in cans. And I'm working on motorcycles and I got combustible material in cans like gasoline, but I can't have it in the can. I'd be saying something like that. I'm just playing devil's advocate.
You can have combustible floor waxes and stuff like that.
Solvents and things that are used in other businesses as well.
A grocery store. But you guys not bring anything in there that has potential of containing gasoline.
Oh, so you could exclude something with a gas tank.
Gas, yes, that's what.
So they could bring a motorcycle without a gas tank and work on it. That'd be a problem. It wouldn't be a problem.
Or is it the repair element of it, working a combustion engine, all that versus storage?
I would like to see motorcycle. And only because we have such a huge community in New Hampshire, and I think it would be good.
And you don't have the vehicle repair that we do have a garage, in some of our special section, but some are using a garage and a repair garage and that type of thing. And it's made for vehicles. And when we have site plan in, it's for, we know where the vehicles can be stored outside, and because you have to, you can't work them all inside.
What about lawn equipment?
Yeah, that would already take.
It's got its lawn signs and
Might want to-
small, it goes on oil and gas.
Landscaping business would be perfect.
Okay.
Yeah, there's small engine repair, that type of thing too. Because there are Playable Guyette doing it now, small engine repair up there. And I'm sure there are other people working around, and it really, unless the fire department corrects me, we don't have a problem, with fires or any of those. Facilities, really. Of course, they don't want to burn down themselves, and be careful.
I'm having trouble with the first phrase of your definition, which was basically services that are important to citizens.
I wrote it down because I was thinking about it.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying we need to.
Okay, good, because I think that we would need to preface almost all of the definitions with the same words, so,
Completely agree.
okay.
It was just trying to phrase it in a way
Yeah.
to say that these services are kind of a needed
Sure.
thing. I don't know how to phrase that in more
Yeah, I just,
I agree.
would you require fire suppression by sprinklers on something that was really as large as that?
Yeah, that's usually up to the fire department and they might want them.
Any require?
If it's part of the code, I guess that they're saying what they're doing.
There's some state code and
And they would probably want, the fire department would be in on it because they probably want fire suppression walls. I don't know how many hours to burn through in between because they're separate businesses like that. And I would imagine that they'd be designed like that anyway, because if you're an applicant or general contractor building one of these, you want that kind of protection. So that it's burning
So-
place down.
So I think we've got away from services that contractors are doing elsewhere. And they're using this to stage, to, store or whatever they need to do versus services that are now being done on site. When we start talking about engine repairs and things like that. And I think that we need to make a clear distinction between those two because we might not want those on-site services to be done there.
It could be more.
I think it could be too, as far as if they're done safely and that's the protection of the fire case, they'll sign off on it there. That, because again, we're talking about small businesses, we're not talking about large ones, like I said, there's small business.
The size of each bay is going to be a limitation, right? So unless it's a contractor bay facility that is designed entirely for automotive repair. So there are, say, 5 bays for 5 guys who work on cars, which might be a smart idea, actually, they could share the list and whatnot. But the issue, I think, in addition to flammable materials, is also storage of the thing that they're working on. So if it's a contractor bay facility that is for automotive, you just have to have a bunch of cars.
Yeah, we probably won't, because we already have the what is it, repair garage,
Right.
so we wouldn't be.
It's not gonna happen.
No.
So,
Yeah.
like rebuilding carburetors, that might happen.
That might be.
we don't have compressed.
None of us do.
Yeah, well, undercoating right into car. So I think we might be saved from some uses just by what typical scale, the typical size.
So I think we would specify something along the lines of no car repair, I still like this to be small orders, like that sort of thing.
Yeah, or even small and repair, long line, things like that.
But car repair is something.
So that probably has to be taken care of with examples, because we need the broad definition of what this contractor bay facility or contractor bay is going to be.
Waiting for that.
Waiting for what?
For that definition.
For the definition of that, yeah.
The essence of saying contractor bays means that it's all in one building, like this is a big building. And each
And that's-
contractor has a bay there. Are they all the same size? Are they all working on similar things, or some of them will be craft people, they're building furniture, and some of them. And is that what it is? And they're gonna be working on site? Because when we first talked about this last year, I think it was last year, or early this year. I thought initially that it was gonna be like something I've seen in other states where the contractor has more machinery than he can house. So he brings his stuff there off the job, if he's doing a job in Swanzey, but his central offices in Vermont or Massachusetts, then he would store his bulldozers and stuff in these bays. Because it sounded in the beginning like it was mostly for storage of contractors' materials, not actually places for people to do work.
And it was, absolutely. It started out that way. It's-
Yeah, and then people started talking at public hearings like, we don't know who's gonna be working there. As there will be all kinds of people in and out, and so I'm totally confused as to what we should define it.
Me too, that's why we're having this discussion first.
So office space, fabrication,
Yeah.
it seems like everybody always says we'll have an office.
Big and small, everyone's gonna need a small office, right? I don't wanna get into offices. I think once you get to more than one office, that's what they're separated.
Don't they call that
It is.
condominium offices?
Yeah. I would really like to see on-site or, I'd like to see both options. Either equipment storage for small contractors or, some on-site repair services. Just to give the flexibility, and I think it's important to have flexibility.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So it's
Just
mixed use.
because we aren't limiting it to a certain existence, because there are only so many plumbers, only so many electricians, carpenters, that are gonna have this, and that's.
Yeah, and I was toying with the mixed use. Mixed use typically refers to both residential and commercial, and I think that's a whole separate. It's a whole separate thing. So I don't know if we can classify these as mixed use because there's not going to be a residential component to this.
I think you lost me in the mixed use. Go over that.
Oh, so typically when you refer to mixed use, it's referring to a mix of residential and commercial. So I don't think these will be classified as mixed use because that's not. what
No,
it means. So, contractor bay facility is going to have to be its own thing. You'll have to define it and we'll have to determine which zone districts it can go.
I'm sorry, did you mention the term small engine repair? Some.
I did mention that, yeah.
Then we may have to define what's, to what extent is a small engine? We're talking about lawnmowers.
Anything shy of the Viper V12.
Like chainsaws, things of that.
Yeah, and I suppose we can, but when we get down to that, we just wanted to find every single thing that we're doing here. It's that that type of stuff is usually done at a meeting. Everyone knows it on the period, I think, you aren't gonna get a diesel engine in there, so have a small engine. So, if they're just describing what they're doing and the planning board doesn't think that falls under small engine repair and they deny them, then they can go to ZBA or whatever. But let common sense do it rather than defining every single little thing that, we're not gonna think of. And if we limit it to that and it leaves the board out of the decision process, some of it, I think.
So my picture said everything is stored inside. Is that your picture?
Depending on how they propose this.
Yeah.
So
Because for me, that's a big consideration.
it is, yeah, and that'll be a consideration when they come to for site plan review. So whoever comes in for site plan review, they're gonna propose a space, and they'll propose outdoor storage if they want. And then we can discuss at that time, but I don't know if we can, in the definition,
We can't design it for them. No, we can't,
Exactly, yeah.
we can't do that. They bring in a site plan, the planning board decides on it. Whether
Yeah.
it meets the regulation setbacks and all that type of stuff.
Yeah, they'll make a pitch, and it might be that they propose outdoor storage, they try it, if it doesn't work, they can scale up. And I think it's important to leave it.
Well, the planning board denies it,
Exactly, yeah.
And
Yeah,
like that. So it's case by case basis, as it always is.
it depends on how much space they have.
And with the land,
Yeah.
and where.
So,
It's messy.
Yeah, so let's think about that definition then. You can send that out to us, your definition, your stuff you have written down there.
yes,
It's tearing to shreds and.
yes, we're gonna, exactly. I will just briefly want to cover just permitted in special exception districts. Off the top of my head, permitted in business, commercial, industrial.
Oh, this use permitted in those areas. I got you.
Yeah,
So you're saying permitted use, base permitted in, again, business, of course,
commercial, industrial,
commercial, industrial,
and industrial.
and industrial.
And
And not in business one or business two.
special exception in those two, and special exception in rule ag. Because the rule ag properties on space typically, and they could be in a corporation, so I don't want to say variance for those. In other districts, it would be a variance, and that's why we have variances.
Yeah. Yeah, but you're right, makes sense in those three districts. Have it. I'll start out with it, guys.
Yep. Yay, nay?
Well,
No, just,
yeah.
to make sure.
It's gotta do mine though.
Yeah, it's just gauging it. I think, I don't come in with anything concrete now. I want to get to see where everyone's at. And I will take this feedback and I will put together a definition that we can just destroy.
Yeah, definitely just send it to us and
Yeah.
we'll come up with it. And
I'll provide a few examples of other similar terms, but again, these are still relatively new in concepts.
which is good because that gives us the opportunity to devise our own.
Right.
And what's good for the town here in Swansea, and it doesn't have to be overwhelming of a definition, it can be a short paragraph and good examples, I think.
Yeah.
So one thought is, we talked about contractor bays initially, say related to Batesville Road. It was the contractor and their employees that would be coming and going. But you're waving at me. That would be coming and going. But now we're talking about services where customers are coming in and out. And I think once again, that's another distinction that we need to clarify.
I think as long as they have the space. They're gonna come in with a proposal for a structure and we'll have certain uses that are permitted in that structure, and if it works with space, it works. I'm imagining these services to be low and daily customers, because you might be dropping something off for repair and leaving, you might be going out to the job site. I'm not imagining multiple customers. Yeah, not really Walmart. Yeah, exactly. So something.
But it might change the parking requirements for customer parking and things like that, It also would mean that, maybe the contractor whomever is occupying that space will have somebody there, more maybe full-time even, right?
Yeah.
So those are all considerations. And, if we don't kind of come up with, if we're trying to maybe come up with one single definition, we might be more challenged when people come in front of us, right? So we might have to give it some thought. Maybe we want to, come up with a second definition where there are customers coming and going, right? It's a little bit different in my.
I don't know if we want to get too. I think maybe we should stick to one wholesale definition for contractor-based facility, and
Because the planning board can address it on an individual basis as the people coming in, for traffic codes, things like that, and traffic flow and all that, as we always do in site plans anyway. And yay or nay, or have them change it, you can come back and as we do.
I think site plan review will take care of this.
Yeah, but the more that's defined, the easier our job is, right? So
Well,
I'm
sometimes,
kind of
yes,
disagreeing with Adam a little bit on this one. So
The other thing about that is that we probably should consider them and treat them as multi-tenants, all of them, because they're going to be coming and going. It's not going to be the same person in there when it's approved as 5 years, 10 years from down the road.
right.
So once it's built, it'll have to be a multi-tenant type of a situation, I would think.
The way we have, so the way we have this structured now is an approved site plan comes in. After that approved site plan, site plan is approved, then those tenants will come in, the multi-tenants, and we can go through the multi-tenant process. I do think that there are changes to that process, like more information on a site plan, like just highlight where businesses, stuff like that. But yes, the way we have this,
We'll have to do it that way.
Yeah.
It's multi-tenant.
the way we have things set up, yes, we do.
So if we do it, treat it as a multi-tenant, which we probably will be doing, then we've got to make sure we don't single out these guys and have them more restricted than a regular multi-tenant. So we have a lot of multi-tenants in our town. So we aren't going to let these guys do such and such, yet they're under multi-tenant, but we're going to let these guys do it. We got to be careful that we treat everybody fair. It's their investment. They bought the property. They're just trying to make money like anybody else is. So it's got to be fair across the board. So they're probably going to get.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. We'll take a look at definition and get something. Come on with that.
Yeah.
To go, I think, going with what you're saying, that anytime a person comes in with a proposal for multi-tenant, we treat them all the same. But with the thought process too, well, does this really fit with what we want to see in that area? Or neighborhood?
That's why, we're talking about what areas should be allowed.
Yeah, so they're used to lots of has to conform with the zoning district and et cetera. Which is why Grayson was a good discussion for today, a good tee up. We've had a few of those lately. There's the application tees up to our discussion. That would keep that.
I'm really wondering about using the rural ag, so.
Special exception.
Especially, even,
I'm
is that what what we want the rural ag district to be.
No, I just brought it up because that didn't give us a lot of space.
I,
And so, what else is in that rural ag? Let's have a peek at that, because yes, the
I put them in there strictly for land purposes. Have a lot of land sometimes. And sometimes they are near commercial.
Well, there's a reason why we do a rural ag, area, and that's for rural development or farming development.
but we do have special exception because in other words, I mean, you know,
I can do it pretty quick if you want.
sure, yeah.
Okay, so, housing uses, are you interested in those?
These are special exception.
No, well, so
Yeah.
two-family dwelling on 3.5 acres and less on public sewer is a special exception, detached is no longer. Accessory building was a special, if it's a really big accessory building, 1,000 square feet or greater, height of 25 feet. Farming as a business is a special exception. Corporate office is a special exception. Gift shop, antique shop, craft shop is a special exception. Industrial park and manufactured use special exceptions.
Yeah.
And then education or religious institution, club, lodge, when primary function is indoor is a special exception. Bed and breakfast facilities is a special exception. Removal and processing of clay, sod, loam, crushed stone, sand, and gravel for sale is a special exception. And recreation conducted as a business, like a summer camp, golf course, country club, campground, stables, atmosphere. That's sort of.
There's a lot.
Yeah,
There's a lot. I mean, you could build a hospital, and hospitals are permitted use in rural ag.
Where's that? Oh, yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Yeah, there's a lot on the special exception only because it's a rural ag district and there's, like you were saying, there's a lot of land there and sometimes people, they haven't lately, but when a building's in there, I wouldn't have to call it that big a special exception.
Like,
But then it would have two roadblocks, it's have zoning board in there.
no, but
Yeah, right.
this,
Yeah, and I'm not sure Village Business District 1 is a good special exception either, because those two areas we kind of confine to already pretty
We
established.
didn't have that, did we have that?
We did, and
Only one,
so
special exception.
looking at the permitted uses in that district, manufacturing, sorry, special exceptions, you can have a rec facility, which is a pretty intense use. You can have service establishments there now, which we discussed that today. What Grayson was doing was to try to different establishment. If we don't allow it as a special exception, you should probably think about changing that also to a special exception. So I'm just trying to stay consistent with what's already there.
Yeah, just keep in mind that these have the potential of looking like, the storage units
Yeah.
that we said we don't want any more in this town
There's no land.
with traffic.
Absolutely.
Okay.
There's no.
So, keep that in mind, because that's the last thing I want to see. Personally, on Route 10 is more of these big, long buildings, that are hideous to look at, quite frankly, and they take up so much space. At least in this case, the argument that, each one is generating income, right? It's a good thing. But it's still that same look and feel.
Yeah, it is, but you can't, I mean, again, it goes down to private property rights, which we've talked about here before. And, they're investing in our community. They've bought that piece of property. And they want to do those buildings that are on it, storage building that's, if they want to do it and it fits our zoning, then it does it. But yeah, they generate the taxes and they don't send any kids to school. So that's all that 80% probably of their taxes are going to something they never use. And it benefits the rest of us, because if they weren't there with that business, putting in that part of the money into the school system, the rest of us have to make it. And businesses are good.
And here's why I included, actually, if you read the definitions for village business 1 and 2, it should be a permitted use, not special exception, because it's a district intended to provide compact area with which the commercial and business uses necessary to service the needs of the community and they function. Just reading that first sentence, it should be a permitted use, really. I mean, looking at village business 1 and 2, the way they're written in the code now, I mean, if we don't allow them to at least be a special exception, we can change the definitions.
And as you brought up before, service establishment is in allowable use anyways. This is gonna be a service establishment. It's gonna be a different form, but with several connected together, right? And
Right, and I think we just need to stay consistent with what the code has. And I think it's consistent. We want to change, we will allow use. Again, I don't think there's enough space for available land. Right now, as it stands in the village business 1 or 2 that built these facilities, but who knows what's gonna happen 10, 20 years down the line. Consistently, or consistent, with how our code is written, how the districts are defined. We fit that definition for T. And I think we would need to change those definitions if we didn't allow them. But these be a special exception.
yeah,
If there's not a need, it can be built.
Exactly, yeah, I mean,
Right now, there is a surplus. So
and those are smaller lots anyway, so I think that's a good filter.
surplus of what?
on the rental storage areas.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but that's probably gonna go away with these new builds with final, yeah, like the Finley project up there, and the one by the new fire station. When those are built, there'll probably be some more need for it, because most of these developers are not building storage facilities within their apartment buildings.
Yeah,
And the people have no place to store things.
I'm one of the rare of that.
all right, so first things first, definition.
Definitions, this is gonna be the first definition we do.
Yeah, we'll go from there.
You said there was one such facility. Was fairly close, was it?
It's in, oh, man, Winchester. Winchester. So surrounding is one of our neighboring
I'd
municipalities.
like to, go there, a
We,
contract facility.
Yeah, I'd like to see one too.
it's a different, it's not quite the same as what we're doing. But I think it fits some aspects.
A contract for bank facility
Yeah,
I could try to inquire with their manager.
with Green Mountain Electric Supply is. That is one of those kind of buildings.
Where is that?
That's over where, in Keene, where Michigan, what do you call it? Subaru,
down, okay.
you go down that road back there,
Okay.
slapping in, and then you got Green Mountain Electrical, and then there's a bunch of other contractors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a huge building. I used to wire,
Okay.
That's, I could, true, yeah.
but then they're all divided up. They're all different sizes. And like you were saying, with the tenant parking now, Green Mountain Electric, he only has like 6 spots because he has a small counter inside for guys to come in and buy the stuff they need.
Yeah.
But the back is all warehouse.
The best thing about our definitions is that one of the first points would be more than one, I think.
Yeah, more than what you facility.
Yeah, it could be 2, and
Yeah,
that'd be fine, but
yeah, that should do it.
we have a lot of. So,
Mhm.
I can send out an email with something rough,
Yeah, do that,
and we'll each other.
do that. Yeah.
Take a shot at service establishment too while you're at it.
I think that one is actually a bit easier, because APA doesn't define it.
I'm not sure if it's easier if it's a special exception in somebody's zone, then if you don't have.
If we have it, yeah, if we have that alongside contractor based facility, that's to be tough. We can hash this out the next one.
There's contractor bay and contractor base.
Yeah.
Okay, then is there anything else for the good of the order? Did we covered it all?
I'll make a motion.
What would be that motion? Motion for adjournment?
Motion for adjournment.
Motion to adjourn by Mark, is there a second? Oh, second. Second by Brandon. All those in favor? Aye. Aye. All opposed, we are adjourned, okay? So we'll take a look at the site plan modification.